We're doing a review of the stories that have been reported on the front pages of our dailies. So basically, information dissemination is what we're about to do for the next, say, 45 minutes. My name is BABALOLA. I will not be doing this by myself, of course. To give analysis to some of these stories, I have joining me via the phone FUAD, SAHEED, and together we'll be conversing about the reports. FUAD, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Sage. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm pumped to be here. I'm very excited because there's also very interesting stories that are being reported, and I'm just super glad that I have the opportunity to talk about these things, honestly. Well, we have our dailies here, by the way, the Nation, Vanguard, Guardian, and finally New Telegraph. So we'll just start with the Nation newspaper. Let's talk about the major story here. Petrol, diesel, others to flow from Dangote refinery in July. The rider to this story, 40% of output from the 650,000 barrels per facility is for export. Now let's look at the body of the story. First batch of products would roll out from the Dangote Petroleum Refinery before the end of July. Alhaji Aliko Dangote has said. The refinery was inaugurated yesterday at Lekki, Lagos by President Muhammadu Buhari and 5 other presidents. Let's look at other things that were reported. He said the commissioning ceremony is just the beginning of a great journey, a milestone in the exciting trajectory for the downstream sector of Nigeria's oil and gas industry. Well, before I started, in my introduction, I did talk about the expectations that a lot of Nigerians and even, world leaders have of this refinery. They don't think that it's going to impact just percent of the output, which is 650,000 billion economy, right? So this exportation needs, though I know it's a private entry to other countries.
There isn't too much out there yet.
Yeah, we do.
Coming from what was bought.
To worry, we're talking about the Dangote refinery and also begins operations. So there's some of the highlights to this story, though. The president believes that the incoming administration would be able to sustain the economic gains that we would get from this refinery. There's also a conversation around this project is going to generate 12,000 megawatts of electricity. How, we don't exactly know. Just like Fuad said, the operation model has not exactly been spelled out for us, but so far some of the things that have been highlighted is that this project is expected to generate 12,000 megawatts of electricity and also help us save about $30 billion annually on forex. Fuad, are you here now?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry,
yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go
ahead.
ahead.
All right, so what I'm saying specifically is that a lot happened yesterday and a lot was said yesterday. And those are things you, of course, expect from an occasion like that. Of course, everyone was available. I think the only person that was conspicuously missing, and up till now, no explanation has been given really on why that happened, was the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That was a very big occasion that he should have attended. In fact, he was listed as one of the dignitaries that would attend that event, but he was missing. But the reality is a lot was said, a lot of things that, for some of us who saw when Nigeria was a very great country in terms of public utilities functioning and all of that, some of the statements we heard yesterday are not moved some of us. In a capitalist setting like that, those are the kinds of things you hear. Oh, this was going to happen, it was going to be a game changer. I think the president said it was a good game changer. Aliko Dangote himself said that, look, it was a dream come true. A lot was said. Everyone that mattered in Nigeria, when I say mattered, quote and unquote, attended that event. Former governors, traditional rulers, and what were we commissioning? We were commissioning the Dangote refinery eventually. That started about 5 to 6, 7 years ago, and now it has been inaugurated. Now, to your question about whether this was going to help with our domestic needs, like I said, the figures are going to come out eventually when the operations of the refinery start fully. Now, what we have from the report is that 40% will be exported. So it means that 40% of whatever is produced in that refinery will not be for local consumption. Like we have always said, this is a private business, a private entity. It's about profit making. It's not charity, really. And so when they check their books, when they look at the operation model, what they will be looking at is, look, what is going to benefit this business venture? How do we make money? It's not about, the interest of Nigeria. It's about, because it's a private business. We need to emphasize that. no issues with that. Look, we must commend Alhaji Aliko Dangote and his team for what they have been able to achieve. But you know what, Sid? Yesterday there were statements that caught my attention. I don't know whether the papers have it.
I was just talking about some of the things that were said. That Emefiele says the project is to generate 12,000 megawatts of electricity and is supposed to save us about $30 billion annually on forex. That's pretty much the highlights that the papers have for us.
Okay, now the highlights. I think the $30 billion saving.
Yes.
Was a statement made by the CBN governor.
Yes.
Which his speech there was a major thing for me. And I'm going to be saying this for Nigerians to need to think about some of these things. It's not to cause aspersions or to say whatever was achieved yesterday.
FUAD, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you. My apologies, please. He also said something about Dangote being repaid a large chunk of the loan he took from.
I was looking for you to highlight those things.
Oh, okay, yes. He said that.
I was going to do it myself anyway if you didn't bring it out. Now, so again, like I said, whatever was achieved yesterday, we need to at least congratulate Alhaji Aliko Dangote and his team. It was a fantastic one, to have the largest single train refinery in the world built on our soil here in Nigeria. We need to commend him. If nothing, it will provide jobs.
Right.
If nothing, it was going to help with our energy needs. Like we're already saying, we're looking at about 12,000 megawatts of electricity generated from that refinery.
10,000 jobs and so on.
There are a lot of positives that we need to take away from what happened yesterday. No doubt about that. But what happened yesterday also requires that we sit back as a nation and reflect on a lot of things. I'm not going to be conclusive in my analysis this morning. I'm going to leave a lot of the thinking to our listeners. Now, yesterday, the CBN governor announced, although it was not a new information, that Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the Dangote Group, got a loan facility facilitated by the CBN through commercial banks, a tune of $9 billion.
Yes.
The entire cost of the refinery at the end of the day eventually was $18.5 billion.
Yes.
But it was said yesterday that he got a facility through the CBN and commercial banks to a tune of $9 billion. To help of the loan has been paid, and what is left is about 2.7 businesses. But what is intriguing for me, their ability to understand what I'm saying.
Definitely.
That apart from the loan, that project was facilitated, made available. Before I move on from the loan, it would have been nice to know
subsidized for him.
Was it something amount of happy about the result eventually? But it just everybody said, oh. But the question is, none of the officials yesterday in Nigeria, nobody said anything about it.
FUAD 2006-2007 to privately and actually build a private refinery. How would you put this into your analysis?
Now, look, a lot of people don't even understand. Yaradua came in and reversed for a lot of reasons. Unfortunately, the political class. Look, we're only talking about the reversal of the refineries. Other things that were sold at number one, a lot of them were during the era for estate in Ikoyi was sold for 7 years. When Yaradua came in, he discovered that a lot of these things were sold to cronies who were not these things are things that unfortunately have been swept under the carpet, and we don't have any government with the interest of probing into what happened at that time during the Obasanjo regime with privatization that was done at that time. A list of companies are there for people to go and check what has happened to those companies sold at that time. So if Dangote said, oh, he had bought, he was reversed, his money was returned to him, and all of that, and that he decided to refinery. Speaking yesterday from the CBN governor, look, he would not have been able to achieve this Dangote refinery without strong support from the government. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, he said that.
So yes, it's a business and has all the money, but the reality is that look, a large chunk of what was required to build the refinery came from government support. And that's what we're trying to establish here. But here we have 4 non-functional refineries that nobody is talking about. And you may also join.
Investigate, get information. You've given them, you've opened the portal for the conversation.
Now,
pick what you said.
Then capitalism.
Okay.
Let us go and read about it. What was achieved yesterday. It's not positives for me. But I still think that, look, there's a lot of things that I need to reflect on. from what happened yesterday. And I say again, if you have the time, go ahead, read about what I call crony capitalism. I leave the issue at that this morning.
All right. Well, thank you very much, FUAD. You can get more information on the front page of the Nation newspaper. The story continues on page 6. Now, let's move on to other headlines here. Supreme Court to rule Friday in PDP's suit against Tinubu Shetima. The story is the Supreme Court has fixed Friday to rule in the People's Democratic Party suit against Tinubu Shetima ticket. Now, if you remember, the PDP in July, on July 28, 2022, they had spoken to the High Court, or at least presented their case to the High Court, talking about Tinubu Shetima. They had issues, and they were not even qualified for the nomination in the first place. But the legal team for Tinubu Shetima, Babatunde Ogala, had urged the court to strike out that suit since the 180 days allowed by law to hear a pre-election case had elapsed. FUAD, I mean, I'm not that gifted when it comes to the law, but I know that this is something of a technicality. Now, the PDP and Labour Party, their argument is that aside from the fact that they are trying to contest the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president-elect, they also filed a suit about even they were not qualified to even be nominated as the standard bearer of the party because of pending issues that they had. Well, the legal team of the president-elect is saying that you have 180 days. That's how much time you have if you want to put forward a pre-election conversation, and that 180 days has elapsed. And on that note, the court is expected to strike out that particular suit. Now, the court has not responded, as the report tells us that we would hear what the court has to say this on Friday. But what do you think about the position of the legal team of the APC about the 180 days window that has apparently elapsed?
Apart from the 180 days issue, this is by appeal court ruling on the same matter, and basically they were not even talking about the issue of 180 days or not. It was more about local standard. That the people that came with this case don't have the local standard on the case particularly, that in fact they were interlopers. And basically what that means is that, look, what concerns you with the case on nomination in APC, you are not even a member of that party. Right. You are not even a contestant in that election. So in street language, basically they are like busybodies, or they waiting concern you for the matter. Right. So on that basis, at the Federal High Court, the case was struck out. On that same basis, at the appeal court, it was struck out. But the PDP decided to go ahead to appeal to approach the Supreme Court on the same matter. But of course, the APC is asking about 180 days from matter, because it comes from when that particular incident happened till now. And so on that technical ground, they are arguing that, look, the case should be struck out. That's the technical ground. Right. But the reality is that, look, we cannot be able to the court will have a ruling on this matter on Friday as well.
For the quality of the call is the quality of the call is dropping. If you might maybe just adjust a little bit so that we can hear you.
Is it better now?
Yes, we can work with this. Thank you. All right, you can get details. Okay, please conclude.
So we can't preempt the court. Yes. We have to wait until Friday so the court will be Sunday.
Yes. Let's see what happens Friday. That is on page 26 of the Nation newspaper. Moving forward, we're still talking about what's going on with the election petition tribunal. Now, the story here is why tribunal rejected motions on live telecast. The rider to this, Tinubu APC opposed consolidation of PDP Labour Party's petition. Now, the tribunal is not a stadium or a marketplace, and its business cannot be trivialized. The president election petition court ruled yesterday while dismissing prayers for a live broadcast or proceedings. It also held that televising the proceeding was a policy decision that is outside its powers. The court dismissed 2 applications by Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. They're saying that for that decision to be made, that is something that the president has to assent to. So it's not the court's decision whether or not to televise court proceedings. In fact, that is a policy that only the president can really accept or decline.
Of the appeal court.
Of the appeal can accept or decline. So it's not within their purview to do anything about that. But what do you think about the fact that they are also arguing that the proceedings will be trivialized in a manner of speaking if it is broadcasted? I remember when yourself and Sandra were talking, and pictures or images from the proceedings were released release of a certain person, dozing off in court, and we already started making memes about it. It became a joke on social media. And if we translate that into, a live telecast, we can see people start making fun of judges, making fun of lawyers, just trivializing the whole thing, and then it becomes a distraction to the entire, proceeding. So, I know that this is a court thing, but what is your position on, the position of the court, if I can articulate it like that?
Yeah, there have been different positions on this matter. There are people who think that for sake of, transparency, the court processes should be on live TV. But I've always said that, look, proceedings of the court, look, we are reviewing the papers, and almost all court proceedings are being reported by the papers. It means on a daily basis we are even able to get updates as they come from the court. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
But again, the wisdom of the PDP, the Labour Party, they are requested for a live telecast of the proceedings. But I said that at that time that look, it was about the discretion of the court if it was going to permit support, because people who argue that look, it happened in Ghana, it happened in Kenya, why not Nigeria? Again, the court will decide, and they decide that no, they don't want that. They don't want it to realize. It's not a circus. It's not a football match. These are serious national issues that will be discussed eventually. And so, as it is, there won't be live telecast of the tribunals, and so we have to leave it at that. But the reality is that there will be live telecast. For people who think that if you're in a live telecast, there will be transparency, people will eventually begin the process and eventually adopt the decision of the judiciary.
Yeah. And
I said something to Sandra when we had this conversation. Say, people, even if there's a live telecast of the sitings of the tribunal, say, people will still choose their own truth the way they want to believe.
Exactly.
It's about perception. You have a right to believe what you want to believe. So even if there's a live telecast, even if cameras are put on the judges as they leave the courts to how they go to their homes and sleep and come back and all of that, at the end of the day, when judgments are made, people will still believe what they want to believe, no matter the decision of the court. It's about personal perception. Like I always say, there are 3 levels to perception. You understand? There's selective attention, selective perception, and selective retention. And that gives every individual the opportunity to believe what they want to believe. Right. So I think we should just move on. The courts have decided we need to move on with that.
Right. The story is on the front page of the Nation newspaper, and it continues on page 6. So if you'd like to read more, go on ahead and check the page. Moving on, Sirica, more heads to roll in aviation agencies. The writer to this story, 2.2 billion naira terminal takes off. That is the story. So let's look at it very briefly. Now, barely 1 week to the end of his tenure, the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, has spoken of plans to reorganize the aviation agency. According to him, removal of heads of agencies will continue before the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration ends on May 29. Sirika says there is nothing unusual, as there is a set time to start a program and another time to conclude it. He insisted that the recent reorganization in the sector was approved by President Buhari as part of the roadmap to consolidate the industry growth and development. FUAD, as you know, Hadi Sirika has been in the news a lot. The last couple months, especially with certain purchases that were made and people questioning whether or not the money set to be spent is commensurate with the products that we have seen. There's also has been some sort of, removal of certain agency heads and replacement all of a sudden without consultation. And there was also the conversation about the demolition of a particular terminal, and he says that he's demolishing it because he wants to, rebuild one that is to a global standard, something of the sort. And so he's not, even with all the protests, of the aviation, those in the aviation sector about, they don't necessarily understand why the sudden rush to do all of these things. He's still assuring them that this is going to continue until until the president leaves May 29. I will continue to do these things that I have set out to do. So, what do you feel? Are you standing behind those in the aviation sector who are saying that it's quite suspicious that all of a sudden, just few days ago, you become proactive and you're doing all these things, replacing industry head, making purchases, etc., etc.? Or do you think that as long as he's still the Minister of Aviation, he can as well do whatever reorganization he thinks is necessary?
If you say he's being proactive, then it would even make a lot of sense. He's being disruptive. There's a difference between being proactive and being disruptive. So whatever he has been doing, and I think we need to put it out there, that's the reality. What the minister has been doing in the last few months has been the destruction of the aviation sector. He's throwing that sector into confusion, needless confusion. This is a minister that by now should be preparing his handover note. He has about 6 days to hand over, if you agree with me.
Yes.
By now, he should be preparing his handover note. This is what I've been able to do. And I think by now, he should even be telling Nigerians what he has been able to achieve as Minister of Aviation. This is not the time to be issuing new contracts to enablement of agencies and causing needless disruption in that sector. In Nigeria, here he promised will fly, has not even flown. We have not even seen anything from that one.
Well, let's forgive and forget.
No, and this was a man that said all manner of things were going to fly, there's no going back. So it was being proactive. He has not been proactive for how many years now. So this last minute of handing over is where the one he has suddenly realized that there has to be a lot of reforms and changes. That's being disruptive. And we don't need that again because there are too many things that the incoming government would have to carry and inherit. And so I think that, look, somebody needs to tell the minister to please back down. And understand that, look, there are a few days to go and stay away from being unnecessarily disruptive. We need some sanity. We need some, because again, there are too many things that this incoming government would have to inherit as a body. And it shouldn't add to that burden by destroying and causing unnecessary things in that sector.
Well,
we should concentrate on how he's going to hand over. He should begin to share notes with, staffers of the ministry, and then begin to say goodbye to them. Any goodbye is what we need from him.
Okay. Well, FAN is inaugurating a 2.2 billion naira passenger terminal. In fact, he says the facility we are opening today is a product of thought, and it is the first phase of the project. As soon as we put this to use, we hope the incoming administration will continue with the second phase. So, in his mind, he believes. In his mind, he feels like, he's starting it, he's laying the foundation, so the incoming administration can just continue. I mean, government is continuum, so he feels like he's doing a great thing. Let me lay the foundation for them, so when they come, they're not starting from scratch. Does that not give him any form of credit whatsoever?
Have you not seen situations where people lay foundation and the next person comes and removes everything and starts something different?
Well, you have a point. So
it depends on whether the person coming in has the same vision.
True.
Because again, we say government is a continuum. Yes, I agree. But sometimes a new person comes in and discovers that whatever you have been doing was just playing to the gallery and he has a different direction. So I think the man should just back down and just begin to find a way to hand over and then at least allow us some peace.
All right, page 26 of the Nation newspaper is where you get more details. Still on page 26, the headline, Buhari signs Social Investment Agency Bill. The writer to this, 7 other educational bills become law. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday assented to 8 bills passed by the 9th National Assembly. The senior special assistant to the president on National Assembly matters, Babajide Omoworare, said this in the statement. Now, some of the bills that were assented to: the Federal University of Health Sciences Establishment Act, Federal University of Health Sciences Establishment Act, Chartered Institute of Development Studies and Administration of Nigeria Establishment Act, Federal Institute of Industrial Research Establishment Act, and the Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria Act, respectively. Now, they're just explaining to us what this is, that the National Social Investment Program, for example, is just to empower poor and vulnerable Nigerians. And the other acts that have to do with the, education sector, it basically just is supposed to, promote senior tertiary education in the country, and also a way to fund our education sector. So basically, all of these bills have, targeted areas of the country that they're supposed to cover for, fill some of the voids that are in the different, sectors of the country. So it's not about signing the bill, as FUAD would say, or don't let me take words out of your mouth. It's about implementation. I can almost guess that's what you would say, but am I right? That's what
no. If you remember that there was a particular head of a particular research institute.
Yeah.
I don't have the name now. A particular, I think the DG of a particular material research institute or so. I think the institute has been in operation for over 30 years, getting billions of naira in funding and all of that. I think it was a probe of House of Reps, and they asked the man that, look, over 30 years that this research institute has been in operation, You as a DG, billions of naira has gone into you. And what exactly would you say this research institute has achieved for Nigeria? And you know what the man said? A professor, I don't have the man's name now, but I'm sure a lot of people listening to us will remember this case. And he said that over 30 years, what the research institute has been able to achieve is on how to preserve kilishi. And you say, I can't, I will try and get the man's name. Maybe on Mainland Focus.
What? Was it? Maybe it was just joking. Maybe it was trying to make us laugh.
No, it's something on live TV.
Maybe.
They asked him, a research institute with staffers, and the man himself a professor. And they told him, yeah, billions of naira have gone into this institute. We have been paying salaries. You have an office. You have, trainings for staffers. And look, justify why this institute should continue to exist. And he said that, look, they have been able to, find the best way to preserve kilishi. And that's what they've achieved. Okay, well, you can fact check what I'm saying.
I cannot breathe, man. My chest is paining me.
And so we set up all these institutes, all these things and all of that. It's not just creating universities, creating institutes and all of that. How well can they function? What are the models in place to ensure that indeed these things function properly? But again, it is just the news that I think we should just move to other things.
I'm going to read about this. I'll definitely go and read about this because I cannot believe what I'm hearing.
You can fact check what I've said. I'm telling you. She said that's what you like. She's out to be that.
Good, I beg. Anyways, you can go on ahead. I cannot believe. You can go on ahead to check page 26 of the Nation newspaper.
The industry is a big one, if you don't know.
FUAD, even though some things we just don't say it. We don't say it. Anyways, let's take the last story on the front page of the Nation newspaper. We have here, Tinubu will sustain support to Navy, says Buhari. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday urged the Nigerian Navy to translate its impressive combat displays to actual capability to secure the vast maritime resources. The president, of course, went on ahead to blow his own trumpet and talk about the fact that under his administration, he bought about 20 capital ships. They were acquired to the Nigerian Navy, and these ships comprise of the offshore patrol vessels, the landing ship, the hydrographic survey vessels, among other vessels. And in fact, he went on to say that because of these ships that we were able to acquire, we were delisted from, the countries that are under the piracy list. So we don't necessarily, we're not piracy prone anymore because of some of the purchases that we have made. And he's also confident that the incoming administration will continue in this great feat of supporting the Nigeria Navy. Do you want to comment on that briefly, FUAD?
No. It's again, this is just a promise of support. And I think we need to, again, because of the security challenges that we faced in recent time, we need to bolster the confidence of our military personnel. We need to give them enough support. And again, Nigeria is a very big country, and again, the extent of our strength, in the international community will also be looked at from how strong our military is. So this is just a statement of promise, and I don't think there's anything we need to waste time on this.
Right. All right. That's it for the Nation newspaper. We've reviewed the top stories as reported there. In case you're just joining us, this is Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. Just like the name indicates, we're looking at stories that made it to the front pages of our dailies, and we're having conversations about them. My name is Sage BABALOLA, and I'm doing this alongside FUAD SAHEED, who has been helping us with extra information regarding these reports. So I'm moving now to the Vanguard newspaper. Major story here, still on the Dangote refinery as expected. $21 billion revenue, 100,000 jobs coming from our refinery, says Dangote. Now, some of the writer's story, he says first products will hit the market in July. Refinery, a game changer, says President Buhari. Facility will impact Nigeria's economy positively, says Emefiele. Lagos provides best opportunities for investors, says the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu. Our investment in Dangote refinery is strategic, says Kiari. FUAD, we've spoken about this. Would you like to make extra comments, or we just move on?
No. I think we can always move on with that. But I just want us to also understand that, look, again, for people, a lot of positives, but we need to reflect again on that, look. Why is it that anything government run in this country does not work? Or, again, we are seeing a situation where extreme capitalism, as it is, without a proper regulatory framework without proper regulatory framework, without proper competition, what you're going to find is that people monopolize the market, the rich and the poor. That's what you're going to have. The rich continues to get richer, and the poor continue to get poor. Now, commercial loan, the interest rate on commercial loan in Nigerian banks now is about 28 opportunity. I'm asking you questions about SMEs.
Yeah.
Now, what effort in the last 8 years has the CBN done to help small-scale businesses? You know, because again, these commercial loans are now almost 28%. It means that naturally we are not even ready to help the SME market. And if Nigeria is a developing country, we can go and read about how developing countries became developed. And their concentration is always on SME.
Yes.
Because again, the reality is that, you know, all of this support is too one-sided. That's what I'm trying to bring out. See?
Right. Well, maybe
It is
they are.
too one-sided. You have to be holistic.
Maybe they're of the opinion that if this project succeeds, you know, the benefits that would be attributed to the success of this project will, in a way, you know, improve the economy. For example, they're looking at 100,000 people getting job. As you know, unemployment rate is, you know, projected to go up to almost 44% in Nigeria. If 100,000 of the people who are supposed to be unemployed have jobs, maybe they're just looking at some of the. That's why.
See, the support we gave to Dangote to achieve this refinery.
Yes.
If half of this support is given to SMEs across the country,
Yes.
we can do 10 million jobs.
Well, yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, entrepreneurship or just
Yes,
yeah,
you
we'll have
can
more
fund small-scale businesses, give them loans at single digits, make forex available to. Yesterday we were talking about manufacturers.
Yes.
And I think one of the callers called in and said that one of the reasons why the cost of production has gone up for manufacturers is that, look, they have no forex for them to import raw material.
Yeah, they do the parallel market, which is about 700.
So for Dangote refinery, the CBN made available all the forex it needed to bring in things.
At the
So what
official
I'm saying
rate.
is that, look, there's nothing wrong in the support we give to Dangote refinery, but can we spread it to other sectors too? Can we also export scale businesses too?
FUAD, because of our time, let's move on. Page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper, you find that particular story. Other headlines here: Buhari to commission second Niger bridge via Zoom today. Now, the second Niger bridge will be commissioned today via Zoom by President Muhammadu Buhari. It was learned that 336 billion Naira bridge, regarded as the legacy project, will be commissioned alongside 6 other road projects by the president via an online platform, Zoom. It was also learned that the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is not part of the 6 road projects scheduled to be commissioned. This is despite promises by the Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, to ensure its completion before April 30. Sources at the Works Ministry said the second Niger Bridge will be commissioned May 23. The president will perform the ceremony via Zoom, and 6 other road projects will be commissioned. FUAD, May 2007. If I have my fact right, is when the foundation for the second Niger Bridge was at least laid, at least to the best of our knowledge. Well, finally, it's going to be commissioned, and many people are quite enthusiastic about it, especially, you know, those in the East, Anambra, Delta. They believe that it would, you know, spur economic progress in those parts of the country. So what are we looking at? You know, if business booms in the East.
A good one, good one for, I think, congratulations to people in the Southeast.
Yes.
I think we also have to commend the president, who was really deliberate about ensuring that, you know, the second Niger bridge is completed. If you remember, at handover in 2015, when Jonathan was going to hand over, the best that had been done about the second Niger bridge was just a drawing. Nothing had really been done practically. And then the president came in. I think from even his first tenure, he got committed to completing that project, and that has happened now. So congratulations to the people of the Southeast, the second Niger bridge. Yes, I agree that it's going to help, you know, in terms of the economic outlook in that area.
Yes.
Because again, for Delta, Namba, and all of that. So a good one that eventually second Niger bridge, at least is off the project that we have been talking about for years. So we can talk about other projects now. The other routes too good one, but again, I use the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway every day, and I see that, you know, there's a lot of work going on. They are trying to speed up, you know, the rate of work on that road so that it's completed before the government leaves. But I doubt if they're going to be able to do that.
And the rains as well is interrupting, so it might not be as fast as we'd like it to be.
But they've gone very far. I think just there's a little remaining really to do on that road. But Again, we have to commend the president for, committing to
such a
some of these
large
projects
average.
and ensuring that it's finished. Yes.
Right, it's great. We look forward to the economic, contributions that this is
Benefits,
going
yeah.
to have at the end of the day. Page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper is where you find this detail. Now let's talk about this headline here. Northeast federal government seeking fund for over 4 million malnourished people. That's the headline. Now, the federal government said yesterday that more investment was needed to support the over 4 million persons experiencing hunger and malnutrition in the Northeast. The Shugra Mohammed, that's the director of Irrigation, Agriculture and Crop Development, says that many people living in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, categorized as Bay State, have been battling a nutritional crisis fueled by the security challenges in the region. And they're asking for not just but international intervention to cater to the 4 million people who are severely malnourished. FUAD, is quite heartbreaking. Most of our agricultural products come from the north. So help me reconcile how the part of the country that is supposed to be literally our agricultural headquarter have 4 million people who are severely malnourished, to the point that we are not asking for help, for aid from even the international community, so to speak, that to help these people, to feed them. And we can understand that insecurity is a major bane of agricultural development in the country. But FUAD, we've gotten to this point where people are severely malnourished that we're asking for help to feed them.
Say, if you ever visited the north and the northeast specifically, the northeast includes Adamawa, Yobe, Gombe, then Borno State and the rest. You understand why this has to happen. Yes, you just talk about the fact that a lot of agricultural products come from the north, but which part of the north? The north is too big a statement in this context now. You have the north central, for example, Benue, Plateau and the rest, accounting for a lot of agricultural products. States like Nasarawa, Kano, Sokoto also accounting, but the northeast, again, there's a serious problem of desertification in that part of the country, and again, there's a lot of people living in poverty. I think the last time we did a poverty index review, about 133 million Nigerians are now living below poverty level.
Yes.
And I think about 90% or so is actually from the northern part of the country. So again, poverty comes with a lot of things. People are not able to feed well and all of that. Again, as much as we are looking for support, I think this is also the time to call out the government of most of these states, the political leaders of that region, because again, they get these allocations. What are they doing to empower their people? What are they doing to also ensure that they uplift their people from that level of poverty? Because the reality is that, look, even if you produce all the farm products in the world from that region, and the people are not empowered to purchase them, because remember, the people producing these things are also looking for profit, not charity. So they rather sell to other parts of the country that can afford them and leave their own people in penury and malnutrition. So it's not just about, it's about the political leaders of that region being deliberate about getting their people out of poverty. You understand? So it's not really about the federal government alone. It's about what are these leaders of that region, the north particularly. I think the last time out, even a state like Sokoto, the poverty level there is about 90-something percent amongst its citizens. The seat of the caliphate.
So unfortunate.
So the leaders of that region must be intentional and deliberate about getting their people out of poverty, really.
Right. Page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper is where you find that particular story. Because of our time, let's just look through all the other headlines that we have here. Federal government, police rescue kidnapped surgeon, 9 others in Benue State. Congratulations to our security operatives, I guess. Again, armed heads kill 18, behead women, children in Benue, still in Benue. There's also information here about, why Tribunal rejected a live coverage. Yusuf Ubade have no job with the NFF, says Gusau. That's for Sport News. That's pretty much all of the major headlines. Oh yeah, they will sort that out. That's pretty much all the headlines that we have on the front page of Vanguard newspaper. Let's run through the Guardian newspaper. Although luckily most of the stories have been addressed, but the major story here: telcos rising revenue, profit failed to reflect quality of service. So basically, they're talking about the fact that you claim to be making a lot of profit over the years, but then again, quality of service is still nothing to write home about. We still have infrastructure that is not commensurate with the amount of money that you're claiming to be making. So basically, they're just saying, make it make sense. How are you making so much money and we still cannot see it in the way the structure of the electricity sector in the country? FUAD, please, if you can comment very, very briefly in a minute so that we run through the remaining headlines.
Apart from quality of service, I'm also looking at cost of service.
Right.
These days, I don't know. Maybe other people would also contribute to this particular issue. Say, what does it cost to have data on your phone now for a month? Because these days you just spend so much money on access to data. And somehow, maybe the telcos understand that people now need more data than even in the regular calls. I think people will stay on their smartphones more, surfing the internet, browsing, using social media and all of that. The cost is unbelievable. I don't know, for me, I think on the average, the amount of money I have to spend to have data on my phone in a month is crazy. And so we need to ask ourselves, who regulates these people? Who even values what they charge us as cost for some of these services? Apart from the fact that there are questions on the quality of service, most of the cost of service that we get from them, yes, they make a lot of money, but are they not ripping us off? Those are questions for the regulators to answer.
Right. I was going to say telecommunication sector. I said electricity sector. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, is it electricity or telecom?
It's telcos. No, yes, it's telcos. So yes, like I said, structure in electricity. I was going to say telecommunication sector. I'm so sorry about that. All right. So the other headlines here: PEPC dismisses Atiku Obi's request for live telecast of proceeding. We've spoken about that. Relief for travelers as Buhari commissioned second night bridge today. We have $18.5 billion Dangote refinery to release first products in August. There's an editorial here, so we're just going to not talk about the editorial because it's the opinion of one person. So let's move to New Telegraph. Without Emefiele, largest refinery in Africa will not be possible, says Dangote. I think that's one of the things that really poked FUAD this morning.
I like the way Telegraph has their headline.
I think that's one of the things that really triggered you. All right.
Without Nigeria,
the largest refinery in Africa will not be possible, says Dangote. So, Supreme Court to decide Tinubu's eligibility to contest May 26. That's on Friday, as we spoke about before. Scores flee home as terrorist attack killed 23 Benue fighters. This is a lot of attack in Benue State. Brutal Accra route rivalry persists for Nigerians in Ghana Airlines. Education in Plateau, many hurdles for governors-elect. Can condemns renewed killing in Plateau. Group says Igbo politicians are not errand boys. They want Senate presidency zoned to the southeast. I think this is about the distribution of power in the 10th National Assembly. Yes. All right. Well, that's it for Trends in the Press. Thank you so much for going along with us, FUAD. We appreciate you for your analysis and opening our eyes to different perspectives that were pretty much in between the lines. Thank you for bringing it to the limelight. We'll be back by 8:40. That will be time for Mainland Focus. So we'll take one or two stories from the papers and some of the stories we reviewed, and then we'll have broader conversations about it, and then give you an opportunity to also say your piece on these stories. My name is Sage Babalola. This is still Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Don't go anywhere.
When your whole world comes
3 FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage BABALOLA. FUAD is already on standby via the phone line, and it's time for Mainland Focus. So basically, we've gone through all the reports in the papers, and we've chosen 2 stories which we believe are very interesting stories that we should have deeper conversations about. These were extracted, of course, from the stories that we addressed during trends in the papers. So we have 2 major stories for you today on Mainland Focus. We're talking about the Dangote refinery, all of the many events happened, and all of the many speeches that were made at the inauguration, and we want to dissect those speeches and also see the economic benefits that many are projecting to be attributed to this refinery once it becomes operational in July. We're also going to be talking about telcos and how their rising revenue is not necessarily commensurate with the quality of service that they are offering to Nigerians. But let's of course take this one after the other. Let's talk about the Dangote refinery. As you know, during the inauguration yesterday, Aliko Dangote had a lot of things to say about the CBN governor. Good things, actually. He commended him for the great support that he got from the CBN whilst was putting together the idea to build the refinery, which has now materialized. Aside from the fact that a loan was granted to Aliko Dangote, about $9 billion, I believe, of the over 18 billion that was used in the construction of the refinery, the CBN governor himself actually said that Dangote has successfully paid 70% of the loan, and also the CBN governor helped him with some of the forex that was required for the construction. In fact, the headline reads, "Without a Emefiele, largest refinery in Africa will not be possible." Now, the CBN governor, maybe in a bit to justify why he was quite, enthusiastic about supporting this project. Speaking at the inauguration, he says that the refinery would save the country between $25 billion to $30 billion in foreign exchange annually. He also added that the project would attract $10 billion in exchange of inflow for the country. Also, it would help us to generate about 135,000 permanent jobs and thousands of direct and indirect jobs. So this is the CBN governor listing some of the benefits of the refinery. So today on Mainland Focus, well, some of the questions have been asked by FUAD earlier in trends of in the papers, but now we want to ask the question: how excited are you about the prospect of the refinery as highlighted at the inauguration, which have also highlighted now? Do you also think that the support given that the CBN to the refinery should be extended to other businesses and entrepreneurs? There's also the conversation of what are your thoughts about our 4 non-functional refineries? Any hope at all? That's what we're asking. So let's also talk about the second story that we have for today. We're talking about the telcos, the amount of money they've made, and also quality of service. Because of time, we were not able to look through the riders to the story. So if you permit me some 2 minutes to read to you the riders to that particular story. Telcos rise in revenue. Profits fail to reflect in quality of service. The riders to this story: MTN rakes 7.2 trillion naira income, invest 18% on capital project in 5 years. Airtel capital spending shrinks by 23% since 2020. There's also access gap needs 700 billion naira, says NCC. Telecom stock defies industry challenges. Alton assures of service improvement. Nigeria awaits MAFAB, Airtel's 5G. So basically, we have all of these service providers raking in hefty profits, running into billions of naira. But unfortunately, what we have here is that there's still bad network, inability to access bonus offers, drop calls, and poor handling of subscribers by customer care agents. It has continued to hobble their service. In fact, there's also there's some sort of, should I say, measurement of how well we're doing in telecos. Now, Nigeria is ranked 151 among 182 countries in the latest Speed Test Global Index. That means that we're 151 among 182 countries. That's a very terrible position. Also, they're saying that the speed of our internet is horribly below average. That is, we are also ranked 86th regarding digital well-being out of 170 countries recently surveyed. So even international communities and ratings that are being done, we're not doing very well. So FUAD, we'll get your perspective on this. I just wanted to give you that information so that you see how bad, how bad we're doing when it comes to quality of service. So we're asking the questions. Do you agree that the quality of service from the telcos is not equal to the profits that they make? What about the cost of service? What do you have to say about how much we have to pay to access this particular service? So FUAD, what are your perspectives on the matter before we open the phone lines?
Now, on the CBN support for the Dangote refinery, I think I've said quite a lot in the paper, and I'll repeat again that for anybody that has the time, should try and read about crony capitalism. My appeal again, I think in conclusion, would be that the CBN governor, if his tenure, if he's extended or if he eventually completes his tenure, so please work hard to extend the same support he has given to Dangote refinery to other businesses. When I say other businesses, he should concentrate more on small scale and SME, small medium enterprises. Because if you are looking at the 100,000 jobs from Dangote refinery, if we really support the small scale industry, I think we can do hundreds of millions of jobs. If you understand what I'm saying, that's the best thing to tackle unemployment. We shouldn't be lopsided about the support we give to businesses. In fact, Dangote was not the only one giving a license to build a refinery. So I keep asking, why is that others have not been able to give their own? Is it that they didn't get the same support that Dangote got? So it's important that we look at that aspect. The manufacturing sector too is important, and that we open up the market. We should be careful in the way we promote what I call a form of semi-monopoly. Because if there's no competition, what will happen is that we breed a capitalist structure that will beat us to submission. And so we continue to widen the gap between the rich and the poor. So again, it's left for Nigerians to reflect on these things I've said and pick what they want to pick from me. But I think that we are being too lopsided in the manner of support we give to businesses in the country. It's too lopsided. It's almost like it's a one-man show. And we must look at that aspect. For the telcos, it's about the cost of service for me. Yes, problems with quality of service very terrible, internet speed and all of that. And the fact that, look, a lot of times you have to struggle with the quality of service. But the cost of service is also important for us to highlight. What exactly are we paying for this service? Compared to what others in other parts of the world think. I think we are overpaying, and I think there's a form of rip-off from what we're getting from these telcos. So again, we can only talk. The regulators have to do what they need to do.
All right. Well, thank you very much, FUAD, for your perspective on the matter. It's time for us to take contributions. The phone lines are already buzzing. 0913-6000-410. That is the number to call. Now, if you want to interact with me via text message or WhatsApp message, the number for that is 0913-6000-430. We're also streaming on Facebook and YouTube. Yes, I'm with you, FUAD. We're also streaming.
So before you start taking calls, I talked about the Kilishi and the Kilishi.
Oh, yes.
So the institute is Nigeria Institute for Leather and Science Technology, and the name of the DG, Professor Kabir Mohammed.
Wow. I mean, I salute Professor Kabir. Well done. Thank you for teaching us how to preserve kilishi. I understand it can be very painful when your food gets bad. So he's doing a fantastic job. Thank you so much for your Thank you. So we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. You can also drop your comments on there as well. Let's take our first call for this morning. Hello, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Emmanuel.
Welcome,
I'm on transit.
Where are you calling
I'm on transit anyway.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Mr. FUAD.
Good morning, sir.
My name is Emmanuel. Let me just follow. So I'm very, let me say, I'm very, very upset. Not by good food concerning the telco. Do you know that what? If I subscribe for a month, I only use it for 2 days. Like they are using straw to stock the data. they are I'm telling you, that thing is a function. This is stealing, like they just do it. Sometimes you load the chat card, sometimes you load 500 just to make up. Before you call it, 2 people, the credit is gone. You don't know if it's per second, you don't know if per minute they are billing you or per hour. I don't even know. What is our consumer rights? I think we have a body that affects all these things. Because there's the way you steal, there's the way you steal from the citizens. I don't even care. in the Western world, they have a particular organization that takes all these things, including what we eat, what we buy, so that they will not overcharge us. They are overcharging us now. They are making a lot of money. So that you have that on your phone, you can't even browse. Before you know, the whole thing will just go off the air. You'll be bound to the television for you to go and get order. Nobody to report to. You can't even sue anybody to court. If you talk too much, somebody will tell you to take the case to court because they know their design is even bastardized. It's bullish. You know, say FUAD, I say I'm very upset this morning. You think Nigeria just tired me.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate your contribution to the show. FUAD, if you remember, I think it was sometime last year or earlier this year, the federal government was proposing and creating the tax for telecoms, but then it was announced again that they're cancelling that because the telcos, they're already overburdened and all that, because they will transfer it to the consumers, and because of that they will no longer ask that the telcos pay huge taxes anymore. I mean, one would expect that because of that they should minimize, the cost of service and the amount of money people to pay to access services, but unfortunately it became more expensive.
Well, I'm sure you talk to them, they'll tell you about the issue of power. For example. A lot of their facilities are run on private sources of power. You run on generators. You have to spend so much money on diesel. Then, of course, the issue of maintenance, the insecurity in the country and all of that. But again, there are still questions about the cost of service and the quality of service that we must address.
Right. Let's go back to taking phone calls. 0913 6000 410. Hello. Good morning to you. Hello.
Hello. Oh, BABALOLA, good morning.
Good morning to you.
FUAD, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
I think all these public service providers, none of them is after the interest of their customers. They are just to make profit. Illegally, make profit, illegitimately, make profit by all means. They are not to serve us. We cannot overemphasize their inability to serve Nigerians. We just people that are to do whatever they like. When somebody just mentioned CPC, that's a Consumer Protection Council. I had a problem with META because of this same thing that the front page plus. Do you know when I went to their office, they typed out for me a statement of account. And the lady screamed. She said, "Are you people have overpaid? That never will return you. We have to approach CPC. We go here, they invite them, we talk." So, at the end of the day, the people, when I thought they never meet people now, and you say federal government agencies. So it's like all these federal government agencies that are supposed to protect the consumer are either afraid of these service providers, or they don't really know what to do, or they are partners in them. The point remains that until we have a government that is interested in the welfare of the citizenry, that can make all these expenses, say them, no, you can't do this with my people. Unfortunately, the government itself, how much is missing, we can't find it, not to talk of these people. And I think finally, on the next level, yes, Sankofe can praise it. I wish the manufacturers association should also praise the Nokiele. I was thinking that after commissioning of the refinery of the Nokiele, when I go out today, that the picnic will come down, that the price of grain will come down, that the price of groundnut and banana will come down. Because this is what affects Nigerians the most.
Thank you so much.
To manufacturers.
Thank you.
Because Nigerians are losing on their dairies, not on fuel. Okay, why didn't they put fuel for the car that put Buhari to that place?
Thank
Did
you
they
so
put
much.
fuel? So after commissioning a project, you take it.
Thank you.
Did they give him?
Thank you very much. You have just 2 minutes allotted, okay? 2 minutes, please, please, please. I don't enjoy ending the phone calls mid-conversation, please. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name, please. All right. We cannot hear you. Do you want to change positions? Okay, you might need to call us back. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, Sid.
Yes, good morning to you. All right, welcome.
Mr. Fa, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Honestly, we are celebrating, but wholeheartedly from my heart, I congratulate Dangote. But at the same time, same to our leaders. The thing is just that the fat will still remain fat. If we are celebrating our neighbors a pot of soup, we should be wise. We should sit down and have a
and know where we're going in this country. Dangote is a businessman. If you remember, about 2 years ago, the rate Dangote increased the price of it. In fact, it's immense. It's very alarming. Are we going to refine in Dangote refinery freely? And the thing is, immediately now, what is the impact of immediately on other manufacturers? Why is this Dangote alone of the thing? The thing is that many of these people, they are shareholders in all these Dangote group of companies. And they are using Nigerians, but they are using our treasury.
They're not shareholders.
These are allegations.
They're not shareholders, are they? They have a stake. It's two different things. They're not your shareholders.
And it's just the NPC has 20% stake.
Exactly.
Not
So it's not shares. They
there's
don't have shares.
There's no fact to whether Emefiele has any stake or it's just an NPC.
Yeah. But the thing is just that these people need to come to reality. We cannot just rejoice over this. Our refineries need to be actually built up. We need to have our own. The Bible says that where am I going to prepare my own home? This is Nigeria. And we say that the refinery is Nigeria refinery. We have our home. We're supposed to actually build it and make it work. Honestly, these people are not really doing well. And we have to tell them to face. That is not the part. And on the next kind of a thing, the thing that when the government of the day is out of the track, believe me, a lot of all these activities will come up. In fact, these people, the thing is that there's no particular agency related activities of this school. And the thing is that day by day, Nigerians are passing through pain in the hands of these people. And they don't care. And we need to actually see some around. The incoming government needs to stand up.
Thank
and
you.
it's very well. And I think that to mislead, there's a particular agency.
Thank
In
you.
fact, in this thing. Otherwise, we will not be able to get away.
Thank you. Again, once we start to give you the prompt to round off, I would implore you to please round off so that we don't cut conversation. 2 minutes is allotted to everyone. 2 minutes is a very long time, okay? Please and please, brevity is very important so other people can speak as well. FUAD, I'm not going to still take 1 minute out of people's time. I'm so sorry, forgive me. But then again, there are questions around why is Emefiele so enthusiastic about supporting the refinery. You remember the Anchors Borrowers program?
Yeah.
And a lot of these farmers were unable to pay back the loan. We suffered a very heavy blow. We lost a lot of money. It was supposed to help with the revenue generation, but we lost terribly. So
farmers and the agricultural sector.
Incidences like this one where public projects did not give back the kind of revenue that was expected, do you think that maybe that is why they supported a private project this strongly?
Again, we need to situate it properly. The Anchor Borrowers program is a different thing. It's about rice farmers and the support for the agricultural sector.
Yes.
And it's about the model of operations, really. If the CBN failed to recoup the loans, because again, the analysis is that, look, a lot of these guys were not able to repay. It's about the model itself. I always talk about policies and implementation. So the blame still goes back to the CBN because, again, it's just about giving the facilities. You must have a proper analysis of how the money must return. So if it fails to return, then it's still the CBN has to body.
Right. Let's go back to taking our contributions. 0913 6000 410. WhatsApp text messages 0913 6000 430. Facebook, YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning to you. Your name, where you're calling from?
Good morning, John from Mobile. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. John.
I'm not happy this morning, honestly. I'm not happy about the Dangote refinery.
You should be happy now.
Why?
Why should I be happy? Is it Nigeria's or is it Nigeria's refinery? Dangote is only 200 million. Is he having 200 million people say? Why is it that only him is able to come up with a world-class Dangote refinery? You have to listen to the president's speech. And we have all refineries here, and it's not functioning. Go to Venezuela has a refinery. Angola has about 4. Aramco has. All the open country has. What's the problem? What's the issue? Why are they empowering capitalists? Why are they empowering capitalism? Just like you have said there, you are proficient people, you are empowering some few people to become laws, to become an institution, superpower institution. It's wrong, man. It's not right. And you are talking about subsidy removal. Is that Dangote is running our refinery? Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I think people are not even finding solace in the fact that Phil is saying this project will give you jobs, this project will help us in foreign exchange.
It's a familiar tune. It's not the first
people
time.
they don't seem to be encouraged
We
by
know
that
this.
at
We
all.
know this song when they sing it to
All
us.
right, let's go back to contributions. Hello. Please turn down the volume.
Hello,
on
good
your
morning.
radio. Yes,
Good
good
morning.
morning to you.
FUAD,
Good morning.
Joe from Bariga.
Good morning, Mr. Joe.
Well, do you remember when we were discussing about this petroleum? How are they going to sell it?
Yes.
How this man is going to buy from us, and how much he's going to give us? Price tag. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember clearly.
Okay, thank you. I want to stop there. Now,
Okay.
FUAD, I want to talk about NEPA.
Okay.
Please, FUAD, if you have FUAD, you report to NEPA. It will tell you, say, 3 working days. This IKDC. They will tell you 3 working days. 3 working days, you will not see them. Even a week, you will not see them. It's weighing us down. And another important one is, if there is a little rain falling, they will off the light.
The same problem we have been doing it.
I cannot understand.
Nothing has changed.
Are we moving forward? Are we moving backward?
Moving forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And it's a private company.
That's the problem,
Oh my
because
God.
the same problem we are talking about here, when cronies who don't have any business in doing business buy things, and this is the results you get.
FUAD, I mean, NERC has been doing something.
What was NERC?
I mean, they suspended discourse. They're saying that 24 hours after a complaint, you have to go and fix it.
Okay.
That's what they
I won't be
say.
fixing anything. 3 days they won't attend to your issue.
FUAD, I will not answer you.
Okay.
Hello, good morning to you.
What?
Hello?
Hello, FUAD.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Joe.
Yes.
We are still here.
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Yes, yes, good morning to you.
My name is Shagu. I'm calling from Kenya.
Okay, Shagu, thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Yes, about the refinery of Mr. Dangote.
Okay.
Mr. FUAD, I beat you. Good morning,
I
sir.
greet you too.
Okay. The refinery, I'm happy with the refinery because I know one day I'll be a successful businessman more than Dangote.
You build a refinery.
Because
Yeah.
yes, because when Abiola was reigning in those days, who know Dangote? But when me Shagu Salisu will reign, people say we appreciate him. But the problem I have with Nigeria are selective. Abiola, you are selective. Now, Vice President of Nigeria, go to Niger Delta and recommend these modular refineries. Is there any modular refinery? Is there given the license? Abiola, answer my question.
The licenses have been given, but again, I don't know why a lot of them have not been
Some
able
were
to do
called
it.
back, actually. I don't know why.
That is what I'm talking now. You are selective. If every Nigeria were given the same opportunity, there will not be enough rich man in Nigeria. All of us will be equal. Because Nigeria are selective. All these Adenuga, all these, many of them, they are giving. See, Dangote now is only the one giving this opportunity. I remember when I was working at Olude, he was the only one that carried rice from Benin. Trailer, Dangote. Why are we like this? So that the promise APC, that they promise us that they are going to let our refineries work. Is this a private refinery that is going to work? Oga FUAD.
I don't know. I'm not a member of the APC.
You might be now. You're honorable.
Because that is what I'm emphasizing on now. Because APC government promised us
Thank you
that
very
our
much.
refinery will be working.
Thank you.
The commission won yesterday.
Thank you. All right. Hello. Good morning. All right. We lost that phone call. I think we can maybe take a few WhatsApp messages so that everybody is able to get a word or two in. Okay. Hi, Mainland FM. Could it be safe to ask or curiously suggest that part of the reason why the international airlines did not get foreign exchange to move out their money from Nigeria is because of the direction the forex was focused on?
It's not impossible.
Or could it be safe to say part of the reason why there is no forex in the country is partly due to this?
It's not impossible.
The amount of forex sourced is not small money. I still maintain that so far we do not build or repair our refineries and also encourage modular refineries. Dangote will be under a lot of pressure and he can only do the little he can. Now we can see some truths coming out in the open with our governor of the CBN. Why is it only Dangote? Why can we not sponsor that prospective entrepreneurs who can also make the country better? A message from Sean. FUAD asked the question that the forex scarcity, can it be attributed to the fact that most of it was
It's
directed towards
it's not
funding
impossible.
Dangote?
It's not impossible because again, all we had was a lot of the forex needed was supplied by the CBN.
He's saying Dangote will be under a lot of pressure. I mean, he has already told us what's going to happen. 40%,
No, he's not going to be under any pressure.
40% is for export. I'll give you what I can.
And I think probably your 20% too.
Yeah, you enjoy. So it's very clear. It's not. There's no need to make suggestions about that. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name,
This
please?
Chifu Gochuku.
Welcome. Please go ahead.
Yeah. FUAD.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm surprised at Nigeria. Are we calling why there are so many billionaires in Nigeria that cannot do what Dangote do as well. And we have Otodoyata who have so many of them. They choose to keep their money, eating their money, even borrowing from bank too, to finance their businesses. We all know this. See, this democracy starts 99. And before 99, all our refiners collapsed. Obasanjo did not build the wall. Jonathan and Yar'Adua did not build the wall. For good 16 years. Even to sponsor a private company like that could build the wall, they do not. What are we talking about? Why are we so wicked? When you see good things, embrace good things. Buhari and the Dakota have done well. If you read the welcome address if you watch the welcome address of this Dakota yesterday, the way is praising Buhari for his support. For his advice and saying he come to a point, they want to quit. It's Buhari that you should continue. Do this thing is good.
But sir, let me ask you a question.
Ask me, please.
But are you worried that this government was able to do this to a private person, give all the support, like we've said, fantastic one, we need to celebrate it. But does it bother you that our 4 refineries, the government has not even been able to fix one?
It don't bother me at all.
Okay.
Why? Because we must start from somewhere.
Okay.
This one has started now. But it's when Tinubu come, whether we build another one or we will sponsor another private person to build another one.
So what do you think should happen to our 4 refineries? What would you suggest?
I wouldn't know, they will fix it.
Okay.
But I'm telling you that, foreign countries, private companies will finance their government.
Thank you.
All right.
Private companies finance their government.
Thank you very much.
Even in America too.
Chief Ogoshuku, thank you for your contribution. FUAD, should we consider concessioning maybe? If we're not into sale, if we don't want to sell it,
you see the problem.
We can concession, right?
The problem is this, what is saying the government should 100% run these refineries. We know that there's always a problem, and when government is too much involved with things like this, so people have brought up the idea of concession. People have even talked about even selling it outrightly. People have talked about, look, let's bring in PPP so that it's run privately, government owns a stake. But what I'm saying is that, look, all of these ideas have been put on the table. Why is there no deliberate effort from the government to at least get 1 or 2 of the refineries working, whether it's through concessioning, whether it's through privatization, whether it's through partnership? It's just the same story, and we keep spending more year in, year out. We pay salary. There are people working in these refineries. And all of that. So what we're saying is that, look, why is there no intentional effort from the government to get our working, whether any of the arrangement, whether through privatization, whether through concessioning or not? That's what we are saying.
Well, we might answer that question. There's one I always answer that question. So let's take messages from WhatsApp. Says, good morning, Sage and FUAD. This is Godwin from Ilasa. Godwin says, FUAD, thank you for exposing me to reading about crony capitalism. Hong Kong and Malaysia leads on its index, whereas Philippines is alleged to have started it. Russia leads the index in Europe, while Kenya leads in Africa. As much as I give a thumbs up to Dangote, yet everything about Dangote conglomerate points to crony capitalism. A country that runs on a monopolistic and a kind of oligopolistic economy may be treading the path of failure. Competition in business creates a platform that benefits the common citizen. For the government celebration of Dangote Refinery, it amounts to a man who fails to educate his children while calling his friends to celebrate his child's friend's graduation. The country will be great one day. Good day, crew. Godwin, thank you very much for your contribution. Let's take one more. Abraham Ayotunde from Osun State says, Dangote Refinery is not Nigeria's refinery. The Nigeria government needs to be serious with their lives. Good morning. Okay, thank you very much. Presidential Election Tribunal. Okay, this is not on the focus for the day, but thank you very much. Hello, good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us. Your name?
Okay. I'm my friend FUAD. My name is Barrister Peter Oko.
Welcome.
Good morning, Barrister.
And God bless all of you. On these issues we are discussing this morning, first of all, the issue of commissioning of the Dangote refinery.
Yes.
Well, I think we should all congratulate ourselves and congratulate Dangote, But you see, there is more to it than meets the eye. Because people are trying to, the reason I see Dangote is, is a superwoman. But actually, those of us who are over 50, we know the history of Dangote. I'm not trying to disparage him. He's a very hard-working man. We know him as a sugar mogul and all this. As a trader, actually, he did good for himself. Then, under Obasanjo's regime, first regime, Dangote gave the PDP 120 million amount of it to organize a convention, the PDP convention, because PDP was in power for about 8 years before APC came up. And because of that, he won a lot of favor from the federal government. And that is why when the issue of privatization came in, he got a lot of favor. He sold sugar, cement, all these things of him. At given prices, actually. That was how he became a colossus. So, all these ones, MSN is saying that that happened, or that they are posing that country is not. MSN himself should have told Nigerians yesterday how much shares he owes in Dangote.
That's an allegation.
Allegation.
We should be careful to throw that around. Yeah.
Fine. Let's leave that. But I know. Hello?
Yeah, we'll let you too, Barrister.
Yes, I know as a fact that some of the federal government officials, some of them have a lot of shares. As a lawyer, I know that there's what we call lifting the corporate veil.
But for this platform, we'll consider that just as a mere allegation. No facts to that, Barrister.
Barrister, you've spoken for 3 minutes. All right, let's give other people opportunity. You've spoken for 3 minutes. If you're just joining us, this is Mainland Focus on Mainland 98.3 FM. But we have 2 focal points for you this morning. We're talking about the Dangote refinery and some of the speeches that were made. We're also asking questions about what prospects you think this refinery would have for the country at large. We're asking, do you think the support that the CBN gave the refinery should also be extended to other businesses and entrepreneurs? Also, what are your thoughts about our 4 non-functional refineries in the country? Do you think that maybe one day, someday soon, some of the ideas that has been offered to the government regarding what to do about these refineries will finally materialize? We're also talking about telcos and the hefty, profits that they've announced annually. But unfortunately, quality of service continues to be below par. In fact, even in international ranking with regards to the speed of our internet. We're extremely down on that list. So we're asking the question, if you're making this much money, if you're making this much profit, why is the quality of service still poor? And aside from that, why is the cost of service continuing to be increased, despite the fact that the tax that was supposed to be placed on telcos last year was cancelled? So we also would expect a commensurate reduction in the cost of service, but unfortunately reverse is the case. So we're asking you, Dangote Refinery and CBN support, what are your thoughts? And also the profit of the telcos and quality of service, including cost of service as well. 0913 6000 410 is the phone line. WhatsApp text messages 0913 6000 430. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. Let's go back to taking contributions. Hello. Hello. Hello, good morning to you. You're live. Yes, good morning.
A quick one, please. You can see how we got to this level, this doldrum. Somebody justified the existence of Dangote refinery. When you have a refinery, it's not functioning. Now, wow, you can see the level of literacy in this country.
No. It's his opinion.
Well, it's his own opinion.
It's his opinion. All right, it's his opinion. Good morning to you.
I say good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, Chief of FUAD, I'm calling from Sango.
Good morning, Chief.
Yeah, we just have to congratulate Asabe Lokande for the commissioning of that Dangote refinery. And just like Barrister Cole said, I think it's about time we start to obey corporate way of most of these companies. Because they are shielded by a lot of corruption. And you see that it can be the nexus between the problem of forex in Nigeria can be linked to the support, 100% support given to the Dangote industry and against the SMS in this country. And that is just the black and truth. Yeah, and that is why we find ourselves in this mess. So, but the only hope is that in the next 2 years, the money given, assistance given to Dangote refinery by the central bank will have been brought back to the economy, like the president said himself, the president of Dangote. Every year, and government is going to than students.
We can barely hear you.
Chief, you are sounding very far.
Yeah, we can barely hear you.
And, okay, can you hear me again?
Yes,
better now.
Yes. Hello? Oh, and then we were able to hear you, and then it got disconnected. Please try to make it back if you can. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yeah. It's okay, good morning, it's okay.
Morning to you.
Prof, what?
Good morning, Engineer Femi.
Yeah, thank you very much. See, I'll continue asking you. They refuse to build our refinery for 4 years, for good 8 years. They can borrow him to build his own refinery. They cannot look for experts, company, professionals to rebuild our own and give them money for the 4 refineries we have. So you can see now. And I'm asking you that if I'm part of the ceremony, I will ask the Mr. President that why did you refuse to build our refinery? So the people are not happy because of the refinery demand just this now. Now, the question is again that I want to ask you, how much are we going to buy it? Are they going to buy it the way they're selling it in other countries? Concerning this network issue, I have that. I cannot browse. I cannot check my mail. And there's no government that will check all these people to check them. Who are behind? Are they not? I'm asking you, sir.
How do you want me to say?
What you want?
I don't want to be
I'm asking you, yes, this is reality. And we are laughing. We are saying that they are running government for us. They are running this country for us. Where they want it. They cannot, all the money they are borrowing, they cannot borrow money to build our refinery for us. So that everybody will enjoy this country. Because of the stealing, they are stealing our goods, our crude oil. Are they not going to ask them? They are going now. So they will just follow the template of this government again. The new president government, the incoming government now.
We don't know that.
I know one day monkey will go market, he will not come back.
We don't know that. All right, let the incoming administration come in, and then we can now do an analysis of their performance. At least after a couple of years, we cannot start thinking about whether or not they will fail. They are not even in yet, so let's be patient. All right, but thank you for your submission. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
This is Olakunle here.
Welcome.
I've listened so much, and I cannot help but chuckle and laugh at some of the things Nigerians say. But I'll state my points very, very clearly about all of this. Do Nigerians understand that they have 2.79 billion in Dangote?
20%.
Does the Nigerian understand that they have 20% of ownership in Dangote? Does Nigerians understand that they have 20% ownership in Ezekiel refinery? Do they understand they have 20% in Walter Smith also? And all these companies in Nigeria, these are licenses that have been given out to other refineries to start. Do we also understand that we paid money to these companies to recharge them so that they will be better to be able to provide for the Nigerian market? So we should be the happiest when things like this happen. We have the single largest refinery, single train largest refinery that will do 560,000 barrels per day.
Let me ask you a question, the same question I asked the other man. Are you worried at all that we have 4 functional refineries and all of these efforts you have highlighted, the support that got to Dangote and these other investments that you've mentioned, I've not seen any of the 4 refineries working in the last 24 years.
I was going to talk about that.
All right.
And I think you as a journalist, you need to put some of all these things right. And I have been saying it, and I continue to say it confidently, that the 4 refineries we have, they have all been paid for. And you would agree with me that since the 80s, you have been importing fuel. We had 3, since 1999 to 20, we had 3 different governments. Nothing was practically done. Now, we only have come in, all those 4 refineries. So, Port Harcourt refinery, we have passed the second stage. Where generally you can go there and confirm if it is true or not. What time of 60 hours has been achieved on the PS refinery? They are working on the 1,000 aspect of it. Is that not movement from where we are?
No. Look. Are you also aware that the Dangote refinery was built in how many years? From the scratch.
Agreed.
So why is our own taking how many years to even get one to work? We can talk about all the promises. We are doing this. How many timelines have we got in Kule on these refineries? How many timelines have we been given? Yeah, no timelines of them working. You know that we've gotten several timelines.
I agree with you on that, no doubt. We have issues when it comes to putting things away. I agree, no doubt. But what I am particular about is that these things you have said have been paid for. DuPont has been paid. Dairy has also been paid.
Thank you.
Haven't they been paid? But can't we get to Port Harcourt refinery to see if work is going on or not? Yes, we can agree that for 7 years you expect that government should do it. But the question I want to ask is, were you able to do it in 30 years before now? So what I'm saying in essence is that we are better than we were before. Everybody that tells me we are not better than we were, it's not being real and we are not being factual.
All right.
That is my major point.
All right.
Thank you.
That's my major point.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you for your submission. We appreciate you. Hello.
Hello, Babalola.
Good morning, Prince Wires.
How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Mr. FUAD, morning to you.
Good morning, Prince Wires.
May God bless all of you and bless your management.
Amen.
You see, number one, at no excuse for my president to tell Nigeria that I stay 8 years just to repair the 4 refinery and it can't be done. No excuse at all. Yesterday, I was thinking in my mind that what's supposed to come to the mind of Mr. President when we are commissioning Dangote refinery? It's supposed to be thinking about the whole refinery that's not work for complete 8 years. We can blame the previous government as well, but the present one, he has no excuse. And for Dangote, I must commend this man. I commend him a lot. He does for two things. Number one, he started this thing in Lagos here. And I thank the man to provide the facility for him. Number two, we have Kaduna refinery. What of we this one say this one to Kano? But it started in Lagos and started further. That is in Nigeria to recall. And the way my partners will be is the employment. This is going to happen. Thousands of our government will be employed. That's, I say kudos to Dangote. Will you believe what? Before Passenger gave out 18 lancers to Nigerians. How many of them be refineries?
But Prince Wise, did those 18 get the same support Dangote got?
What is it?
Did those others, others that got the license, were they given the same support? We don't know whether they didn't get the same support too, because it's huge.
Just listen. Let them come up and start it and go to central bank as this man go and tell me that I go to bank, they not lend me money, and the federal government not support me. The government that gave me license, what can start the job? Pastor don't give them 18 licenses. How many of them? Where are they? You must comment down to it. If you start a project and you seek a support from government, is not supporting. Yes, no.
Thank you.
You know what happened when we know when MTN was invading Nigeria. It is the glow that is that from a minute 15 per second. So let Nigeria wake up. Let's celebrate this man that do the best for Nigeria. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for your submission. We're going to round off by reading some of the text messages that we've gotten so far, because I don't trust that if I take the call, that person would stick to the 2 minutes allotted. So let's just stick to messages for now. Good morning, mainland crew. God has blessed this country, but our government have nothing to show for it. Imagine our refineries still lying moribund, and none was rehabilitated or built in solid 8 years. For 8 years, this government couldn't repair our moribund refineries or build a new one. Congratulations to Dangote for doing what this government promised Nigerians but could not fulfill. Jacob Koo from Bariga sent that particular message. We have another one here. Very good morning, Mainland FM. This is Mr. Newman from Alaba International Market. Why are we bemoaning and lamenting the cheating and maltreatment of the telecoms? We're like fatherless children in this very country. We pay thousands for light. We don't see the light to use. We subscribe for our TV. We're unable to watch it. And your money melts away like candlelight. You pay for some other services in Nigeria and you are shortchanged. No father to defend us. No senior brother to speak for us. We're bound. Okay. God will deliver us. Thank you. I'm not bound. In Jesus' name. The Nigeria in me manifest. Good morning, Sage and FUAD. The president can come to commission a refinery while he left all other refineries in ruins. Pray to God one day that he will touch the heart of cabals to allow our refineries to work. How can we be so proud of not doing the right thing in Nigeria, in the sense that we praise our lapses and encourage corruption? Ogafua, thank you for the intelligent question that you have asked. Adewumi sent that particular message. We have one here. Good morning, crew. I appreciate how you are quick to disclaim many of the comments as mere allegations. Please keep it up. Many stations don't do this. Thereby, they allow their platform to be used as a where false information is being spread. Benga from Isolo, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Good morning, Sage and FUAD. Honestly, we're fooling ourselves. Rejoicing at our neighbor's pot of soup is extremely laughable. What will not happen to our own refineries? This is very worrisome. I think we still have a long way to go, and we must wake up to the reality of our existence. Sincerely, I'm quite depressed this morning. Sorry about that. I belong to this country and I found myself under the reign of these conquerors. Olamik Posi from Ilubuelegba. What if your neighbor is not selfish? Go and collect soup from your neighbor. If you are friendly with your neighbor, go and collect soup. Yeah, understand? It's good. All right. So I'll just read. Okay, I still have time to read a few more messages. Top of the morning, Sage and FUAD. Dangote Refinery is not Nigeria's refinery. Nigeria owning about 20% of stake in it makes Nigeria a minority shareholder, unless Nigeria owns at least 51% of it. We see where the priority of the federal government is. Is there simply a calculated, premeditated, and systematic violent demographic reshuffle in many communities in various places, Benue, Plateau, Southern Kaduna, etc., by some ethnic and religious extremists, and the government of the day is seemingly complicit, allegedly? Many thousands of Nigerians, young and old, are killed in cold blood consistently, and no one is punished. Impunity is the order of the day. Leke from Alimosho, he's referring to the killing in Benue community,
yeah.
and most of it has been in churches. That's what he's saying. In fact, the Khan president there says that there should be no reprisal, like should not retaliate.
But the killing has to stop.
Yeah, so I understand what he's trying to say, and thank you for the allegedly. Yeah, wise. Good morning, Sage and FUAD. I'm very happy hearing that presidential election tribe. Okay, this is not on the focus for today, but thank you very much. On this note, we have to say a temporary goodbye. But tomorrow, of course, Mainland Focus trends in the paper will still be here. We'll review papers and then open conversations about important stories. All the stories are important, but we just think there's some that we should talk more about. FUAD, thank you so very much for joining us. We're going to go on a brief recess. 9:45 a.m. we'll be back for Global View. So we'll also have conversations about what's going on in countries outside Nigeria. Sage is my name once again. It's Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. Please stay tuned.
98.3 Mainland FM.